Look at that. Already 2.5. All right, everybody. We are back. Yes, we've been off the grid since probably the end of the summertime or middle of the summertime.
Right.
So we're back on the scene, towing the line, 2023. The season is 2 weeks in, but we have some good stuff. We're going to get to you guys as fast and as efficient as possible. But before we do all of that, we want to introduce the crew. Who wants to lead off there?
Well, hey, I'm Dave Beam. I am the kind of Class A guy, downstate guy.
I am Ray Lewis, and I'm responsible for the 1A and 2A girls rankings. And this is hard to believe, but year 8 of covering the sport. So ready to get going.
Yeah, Carson Vittorio, boy in charge of the boys rankings here. Yeah, I'm in year 6 now. Dang, it's great.
Yeah, Tony Preps are the overseer of the crew here. We're gonna have a little bit of fun with this one. I'm really happy to be back, guys. The weather's been nothing short of either spectacular or super hot over the last several weeks. As you guys know, there's been some things been going on in cross country road. But let's get to it, guys. I know that, like I said earlier, we're 2 weeks into the game. This past weekend, however, was the first big weekend of cross country. Detweiler, which is the mecca for cross country in the state of Illinois, and that's no doubt about that. First to the finish, put on the largest scale meet probably in the nation this weekend. I'm probably being a little biased, and I'm going to stick to that. So, guys, let's kick it off with Class 1A girls coming in number 1 ranked. Tolano Unity, which was the odds-on favorite to do what they do, and they did what they did. They
absolutely
points. Dave, I know you were on the ground there.
They had they just dominated. I mean, they had everyone right there. They could have scored their top 9 and still ended up winning it. Mackenzie Pound, she kind of led them. So it was good to see her get out and start pushing up toward the front as far as teams are concerned. Anna Jonesboro are looking really good. They got a freshman girl that is going to be tough this year. She's
Jaden Girardi.
Yeah. Jaden Girardi. And I talked to her for a little bit. And I talked to their team. Awesome looking team. So
yeah, and I'll throw in a newcomer to 1A this year is Peoria Notre Dame. They're automatically one of the biggest teams in 1A. Not their best performance last week. This weekend they were 4th, just behind Eureka, so they're kind of up there. So El Paso Gridley, the one team I think that's in trophy contention that wasn't at first to the finish, or didn't have all of their kids, was Pleasant Plains. They were back in 12th, but they're someone who is definitely a trophy contender as well. So it was a good first race, a good first big race to get a sense of the rankings.
And Kate Foltz just absolutely dominated. She was out front. She ran back in the back loop. She ran off the course and probably added 15, 20 seconds to her time, got back on the course. If you look at the footage, I about lost my voice screaming at her because I don't know what she was doing. But she runs by me. She's got this real concerned look on her face, like, "Oh my gosh, am I going to get disqualified?" But they called her back on the course, and she did everything right. Dominated, absolutely. She ran 16:48. It was probably a 16:28.
She Bermuda Triangle.
That's actually great.
She Bermuda triangled herself back there, huh?
She got lost in the Bermuda Triangle.
Well, that's the thing. The Bermuda Triangle, I will say, I was kind of shocked. There were like maybe 3 flags out there. There was no lines down on the course. It was really hard to follow back there.
Well, there are never lines at that part of the course.
Let me ask you guys this. Let me ask you guys this. Why the meat of that scale? Why can't they line the course better?
Well,
because the course doesn't need to be lined. The course is defined by natural. It's defined by natural barriers.
You just run that edge all the way around.
I get it. I know. But just for aesthetics say. You're right, because there's so many runners, and you probably don't need that. You're right, Ray. But I guess for aesthetics stakes, it probably would, a presentation probably would look better.
Well, here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
The rest of the course was lined besides Bermuda Triangle. Everything else was lined.
Right. And then also, and you guys will see it, that they rebuilt the entrance and the exit. They're going to have railings and everything there.
Oh, interesting.
So, and it's under construction. It was gravel. I mean, I pulled a rock out about this size before the girls' A race and got it out of the way.
Good call, Dave.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, somebody hits that, they're going to get hurt. But it's marked well. When she went off course, I'm telling you, there were officials running after her trying to get her back on. So, and I talked to her dad, and he's like, man, we got to get a gator to lead her so she doesn't run off course again. So,
all right. Well, that's a good sign for her. The Class A girls lived up to its top billing. Let's move over to 1A boys, and with the 1A boys, same Tuscola name of the game, coming in, could be one of the top all-time ranked Class A boys teams, and I guess, well, there is no guess. No doubt about that. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, Will Foltz, their fourth guy, ran a 15:01. Their fourth guy. They got 1 through 4, and the last 100 meters they were running in together. You'll see the footage, looking around, waving each other. They did not finish all out, and then 4 guys under really would have been under 15 in Class A. They're going to be dominant, and their Xander got 18th. He wasn't feeling well. I talked to him, and he felt so bad about PRing by 40 seconds. He felt so bad that he wasn't.
Let's slap a little bit more sauce onto this. 14:59, the Barrett and Horton, and 3 and 4 were 15:01. So unless my math was off, so those 4 guys were like within 2 seconds of each other.
Oh, they ran the last 200 meters talking to each other. I mean,
yeah.
So they would have
I don't think that was a full.
They would have finished second in 3A. Am I correct? If this,
yes, they would have finished second in 3A. They would have beat Plainfield North at the meet. Now, the thing with Tuscola is Blake and Will were definitely running hard. It was more Josiah and Jackson Barrett that were talking back and trying to bring their crew along. So I'm excited to see what they do in a bigger scale meet, probably where they need to be pushed a little bit more up front. Maybe we'll see it at the SJO Spartan Classic. Is that coming up?
That's not a large scale meet. That's a road race. Is there any chance of them going to like maybe Twilight or something like that?
They need to be at
the Boss Hog Invitational.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they have one. It's next weekend they host an invite, and then the next weekend is Spartan, and then the weekend after that they've got a big meet. So.
Yeah, I have a good coaching friend that texted me right after this race. Coach Garrison, he does it again. And by the way, 27 guys, that's the magic number cross country. If you score 27 points, you're winning. It's impossible for
exactly, it is.
Yeah. So they win in a duel. If you take the other 9,000 runners in this meet and you put them on the same team, that team loses to Tuscola in this race.
Right. With 27 points. Yeah, that is
28.
Yeah. That's
last thing. I was told that Xander, like you said, Dave was sick, but I was told that he's been with all their other guys like Will Foltz and Blake McLeese in workouts. So we might be talking about a 1A school having 5 kids underneath 15 minutes at the end of the season.
Absolutely.
That's unreal.
I can see it happen.
Dave, before we move over to the 2A girls, I know you're close with the crew down there. Get them into the Palatine Meet of Champions or Twilight, because they're gonna just basically skate to a state title. Can IHSA just mail it to them now?
Well, you can't do that. Okay, I mean we've said that before, and in November we were giving trophies to somebody else. But I mean they're extremely well coached. They're a great bunch of guys. They're 5 deep. They're 5. Their 6th runner is, he looked pretty good. And Garrison said he's a sprinter, and he just started. So he'll get him up too. So if they've got a 6th bumper,
that's their Achilles heel then.
Well,
so the 6th runner would have to.
That's all I can see is
they're so
all right. Last thing, guys. Last thing on this. Let me just say this. And Ray, you could chime in on this because this is right up your territory. If they finish 1 through 4 at state and their 5th man finishes dead last, could they still win state?
That would be a no, because I think another team, that last runner would score 190 points.
Right.
Okay.
But their 6th runner was 17 minutes, which, as Carson knows, with the depth that 1A teams have, that is just as good as really any other team has at the 6th spot anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So there's 5th runner. If he had a bad day and finishes 70 something or something that gives a coach a heart attack, they're good.
I think
they're 100% good. They could take one of their guys out and put that 6th man in and still win a state title.
Give them a dead man 5th.
Yeah, dead man. But their 6th guy is not going to be running 17 minutes in November. He'll be below 16, I think. That's my opinion.
All right. 2A girls, Chatham Glenwood over Grace Lake Central. Ray. This was kind of evenly matched of all of the races, I think. It was a close one.
It was close. It was hard because it was real close. So
this was really exciting. Opposite ends of the state. And by the way, this is not the last time those teams get to meet before state, because Glenwood decided they're going to be coming up to the Lake Sunset meet on October 6th. And so that's really exciting. One of the worst kept secrets right now, though, is Glenwood's number 1 from last year, Rachel Behrens. She hasn't run yet. She's like an 11-minute 2-mile girl. Was either was all state or barely not all state. So Central has some work to do. I also thought Washington would be a little bit closer to them. So we'll see how they develop. But the surprise of the 2A team race was definitely Wheaton St. Francis. They have 4 freshmen in their top 5, and then Margaret Andrzejewski, who was last year's All-Stater, she was their 3 runner as a sophomore. So that's kind of what reminds me of Prairie Ridge, the year that Rachel Sukup and Riley Leiden were freshmen. I don't know what that team's going to do. So, but yeah, Glenwood and Central, that I think sort of an interesting little mini rivalry burgeoning. I do want to give a shout out at Central, Bella Domeyer, who she's a senior now already. She has had a bit of a tough time the last couple of cross-country seasons, and she's had some teammates that have passed her up. And she was maybe their 3 runner this week, but was sick. But she's in the best form that she's been at this point of the season for a really long time. So Central should be better, even though Glenwood will also be better. Really exciting.
Yeah, that girls' race was awesome. Me and Dave actually both thought that Grace Lake Central had won.
I had them in my head.
After the finish, but Glenwood gets a 6-point win, and that was because Allie Longerin had a great race. But yeah, no, it was awesome. Wheaton St. Francis, you talked about them. They were actually leading going into the triangle. They were far out in front of everybody else. They fell a little bit back, but very young group, so it's understandable. They'll learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yep.
Individually, as the official season debut for our girl,
Becca looked good.
Bandit.
I'd say. Thoughts on that?
She didn't bandit this time.
Yeah.
What's that?
Her official result after she bandited the boys race last weekend to run 17:06. I think that the only question could possibly come up for Becca is, is her training more middle distance oriented? But kind of wherever her training's at, she's clearly very fit and is going to be. She's been the best performer in 2A so far. I was quite impressed with Beer Bomb 17:05. She has a time on her profile faster than that, but that was on a quite quick lighted up meet last year. So extremely impressive for Natalie Beer Bomb. I do think that Sunny Weber will be closer to that group later on in the season.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
All right, 2A boys.
That was a great.
Yeah, let's move over to the 2A boys. Glenbard South, which to me, guys, I don't know what to think here. Glenbard South won over Normal University, Normal U High, pretty close to the first three teams. It was what a 15-point, 16-point win, and Woodstock was third. Carson, thoughts on this one?
I mean, this now even more. I mean, with Woodstock, Glenbard South, they both had some young guys step up that I didn't really know much about heading into this season, I'll say, and heading into the race even. Both teams, had solid openers. Really stepped out here. I think it's legit, man. 2A, it's going to be. I mean, it's like the Lions, then, man. I'm not even kidding. Like 7 or 8 teams could be in the trophy hunt in November.
That's what it looks
like.
Their
third runners are freshmen.
And I failed to mention. Right? I failed to mention number 1 Chicago St. Ignatius Prep was down in the ranks a bit. From what I understand, they had 2 of the top 5 guys that were out testing. Would this have made a difference had they been in there? Because they were down in the standings. Let's talk with.
I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
They would have been more towards Woodstock. Glenbard South, though, like Dave said, their freshman. I think his name's Tom Yoakum, right?
Yoakum, yeah.
Yeah. So
younger brother of
15.
Tim.
He ran 15:27. 15:27 freshman in
23,
September.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hey, is he related to Dwight Yoakam?
No, his older brother is an all-stater that's still on the team currently, though.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. They were 0.3 seconds apart according to the results. 0.3 seconds. So they ran together.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So will any of these teams match up over the next month? Because it seems like they're schools from all different angles here. Will we see any of these teams match up again to kind of like to see if somebody can stand out a little bit more, or will we just have to wait till the state series? Because I know
2A is a little bit weird where everything's kind of spread out a little bit.
Yeah.
Except like you'll see like Caneland and Glenbard South go at it every week or so. But 2A is a little bit the weird one because legit you have 2A schools all over the state.
And St. Ignatius runs a 3A schedule, right? So they compete mostly against 3A schools, so they probably won't see those schools.
Yeah, teams like Prairie Ridge and Grayslake Central do as well. I mean, I actually think those 3 and Woodstock perhaps all run at Palatine, for example. So
Woodstock does not, but yes, you are correct on those 3.
Yeah, and Grayslake Central had an improved performance after 2 really, really shaky season openers. So they're still not quite to where they projected coming into the season, but they're getting closer.
Yeah, I agree.
And the individual winner, the kid from Sterling, Dale Johnson, 14-28, fellas. That's eye popping.
Yeah, and Ethan Hogan was pushing him until probably about 2 miles, and Dale put on a surge and dropped him. I mean, it was pretty impressive because they were side by side.
Dale's not a household name for some reason, maybe because he's out in Sterling. No disrespect to Sterling, just the fact that it's off the cross-country grid, so to speak. But he did run 908 on the track, which we should not be that shocked, right?
He was with Ethan
I'm not
for 7 laps at the state.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I'm not that shocked by Dale Johnson doing this. What I'm more shocked about is just the fact that he was able to drop Ethan Hogan in the manner that he did, where Hogan ended up falling back to, what was it, 5th?
Yeah, something like that. And
when they had a huge lead on,
they were
third going into the mile.
With all due respect, this was Ethan Hogan's first race of the year.
Right. Absolutely.
Because he's been on maybe he's got jet lag from all these college visits he's been on. But, hopefully, if you're watching this, Ethan, you'll take this lightheartedly.
Yeah, and also he he looked fatigued at a mile and a half. And if you guys look at the footage, if you look at Ethan, he looked fatigued at a mile and a half.
Yeah.
And I know he's ran faster than that. Dale looked really good, and I thought ran a really smart race, you know. And the Patel, he had a great race too, I thought.
Deshaun Patel.
Deshaun. Yeah.
Deshaun Patel.
I noticed him a few weeks ago at Emerson Park. He ran one of the fastest times ever on the course, which seems pretty fast.
That is true. You did bring that up, Carson. And he is in our Premium 25, by the way. Haha, rightfully so.
Right.
So, great race. Now, let's move on to the 3A girls. Now, I was a little surprised to see the result of the 52 points by Barrington. I thought it was a misprint, actually, until I tallied up the places and the points. I'm like, oh, wow. I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody about it, but just looking on paper, guys, were you guys as stunned as I was over Naperville North? They gave him a beating.
I don't know if I was say stunned, I'll say. It was impressive. But Barrington, I feel like over the last few years has accumulated a few girls that have gotten, you know, pretty good, and then like they'll have a few bad races or something like that, or they'll, you know, tend to fall off a little bit. But it seems like all of them are firing on all cylinders right now.
Right.
They have a very good 5. And if you look back at their like former PRs, it's a pretty good team. So not super surprised. It was just nice to see everything happened well on the same day for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mia Sira is their one freshman in that top 5. I actually thought there were more. I thought, that jump, they must have multiple freshmen, but really she's the only one. And Abby Lewis, who's a sophomore, made some of her jumps during the track season. Right. But 6 was just about 18 seconds behind 5. So they're legit. For sure.
Yeah, Mia was one of the top runners in IESA last year.
Exactly. Yep. I saw her run.
They had 20. Basically, Barrington. I mean, if you look at the top 5 spread, their 5th girl, 21st place in the, at least the team score there. That's you can't get any better than that. Almost as dominating as what some of the other scores were. Individually, Scout Storms, our preseason number 1 girl, she did what she did, huh? 16:52.
She just looked smooth and strong. It was just beautiful. Absolutely great race by her, I tell you. Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this before we move over onto Harvey Bras. After the boys, do you guys think that Kate Fultz and Scout Storms, had they been matched together in the same race, how do you think it would have been? How do you think that would have unfolded? I'm just asking.
Well, knowing what Kate Fultz is doing currently right now for training, I would say Kate Fultz, because I can promise you no girl in the state is outworking Kate Fultz right now.
Well, outworking and racing are 2 different things. But Ray, I want to hear your perspective on this.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of data on Scout as a racer, but I personally don't know that much about Kate in a race. I would say, just like gap on the field, Kate's performance is a little bit more impressive, but I also just look at the 20-second or the 30-second win for Scout, and I really don't think that was a red line performance for her. Yeah, I think if we racing, we would be. Here's something: if they were racing each other, Kate doesn't go the wrong way on the course.
Right.
So
that's true.
So we're talking about a race in the 1630s between the 2 of them. That's what I think would happen.
I think so.
Yeah, and that's thank you, Ray, for saying. That's why I threw you in here, because I think sometimes if you have somebody running with you, it's a different perspective.
Right.
Sometimes of that level. Yeah,
and Kate was all by herself from 800 meters on. She was all by herself too. So that would have been a good race, I think. Yeah.
3A boys. 3A boys.
Right.
Downers Grove North Trojans, fellas. Talk about it.
Amazing. This is going. I said it during the summer. This is going to be the team that finally brings back home a trophy to Illinois, hopefully, from NXN. I think they're that good.
39 points.
I mean, yeah, we are talking that we have 5 kids underneath 15 in the first week of September. That is insane. I cannot think of another team that's had that happen before in our state's history. Of course, we've seen it at state meet, but not 8 weeks out from the state meet. So they ran great. Their top 3 amazing of Eddington, Caden Weber, and their third guy,
Grant
Schroeder.
Yeah, their team calls him Mort, but yeah, we know him as Grant Schroeder.
The sixth man. Didn't their sixth man go 15:04?
Yeah, 15:08 for their 6th guy.
He was under 15:10.
Moss,
Sixth guy.
Who's he?
Yeah.
Isaac Moss is a junior. He had a good.
He's a senior.
Season.
He's a senior.
Oh, he's a senior. Yeah. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a good track season. You know what the crazy thing about all this stuff with Naperville or what DGN is? They're if you look at their open race results, includes Brady Travers, who was their 937 kid.
I remember him
during the track season. He's not even breaking into the top 7 right now.
He didn't make the travel squad.
The top 10. There were 10 running in the varsity race.
Yes, he's the 12th man.
He didn't make the travel squad.
Well, he ran
right
in the meet.
Now.
He ran
15-15
to finish second in the open behind his teammate Owen Kelly.
The varsity travel squad. Well, if it was a normal 7 guys, the 937 kid doesn't make the.
Correct.
Well, my travel squad, you get to eat after the meet. So
hopefully.
That's just amazing. That's just amazing. Second place was Plainfield North, and then Carson, your team was in the mix as well. Which leads me to the individual race, and came in VJ, did his thing, pretty much duplicated what he did last year. Maybe just one tick off of what he did last year. 14:23. He looks like he's on all cylinders, huh?
Yeah, he looked great. Splits were 450, 945, and then 14:23. So you can do the math there on the last mile. 438 close.
Right. And Ben Crane, that new Trier kid, ran right with him. You know, they were he had a good race too.
So with Cayman, he talking to him a little bit afterwards, he was saying that he was surprised that it felt like the field was surprised that nobody really took it out that fast. They were expecting to see something in the 14 or the 430s for an opening mile, and it just didn't happen. It was 450, so the race continued. 455 for the second mile. It's sounded like Dylan Maloney took the lead during the back triangle, his teammate. So and then we go into 2 miles, and it's the all-out race for Damon VJ and Ben Crane, who had an awesome performance at Hornet Red Devil last week.
Good, a great race. Great overall. I saw that there was 15 guys in that race broke 15 minutes, including. One guy of note I want to shout out here was the kid from Mather. They call him Mo. Mohammed. He likes to do all of this and all, the showmanship.
Mohammed Abdullahi.
Yes. So now, Ray, we were at the Harvey Bras Lake Park Invitational at Lake Park High School. The top 2 teams in the state were there: Prospect and York, and then Downers Grove North, who was our, I think, number 4 team. They were there as well. There was a big surprise. And you and me were right on the field. DGN comes in like a hyena and for the kill, and ran off with the goodies, man. Beat them by 1 point. It was like, I think, a 3-point spread amongst the top 3 teams. Now, so this leads a new perspective on not only rankings, but just perspective over the next 3 to 4 weeks, because these teams will see each other, I think, the next several weeks. So, Ray, real quick, what was your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought the race progressed actually very unusually, with a massive crowd in the first mile altogether. It was quick. They weren't jogging, but it was very bunched. And so at the 1 mile, it was pretty much all the scores were the same. All 3 teams had all 7 of their kids together. Prospect was 10 points back. And so it kind of seems like there are a little bit of depth issues that existed in the last few weeks, and I think those manifested a bit. York is so strong. Catherine Clement, I don't think had her best year last year, but she's up there, and Maggie Owens has come back really strong from injury. A big reason DGN won. Of course, Lily Eddington looks good, but Mackenzie Willard is a junior who I think is pretty much going to be with Eddington. So we get to see these three teams the next 2 weeks because DGN girls join York and Prospect at Richard Spring and Palatine. I think it's going to be the same thing as last year. I mean, I just think various differences in how they approach these races are going to just determine the winner. We might see each of the teams win once these 3 weeks, you know. And Prospect lost despite having Zenaida, who ran an amazing race, and Peterson, who fell back and then came back up later, finishing 1-2. So there's a little bit of I think there's some question marks with their the second part of their varsity group. So we'll see how they bounce back. But really exciting race, and we shouldn't be surprised by anything DGN does the rest of the year.
Yeah, real quick on the boys, it wasn't as deep as the girls, but Wheaton South, which is one of the emerging teams in the state, won it over St. Charles East, and Lang was third. Winner, Tommy Hitz, I think you got to put him in there as a legitimate kid coming down the road. 14:53 was the winning time for him, and we'll see how that translates to Detweiler in a few weeks when he gets there. Will Cos was second, 14:55. I went back and looked at some of the results. Those not too many guys have broken 15 that early in September. So we'll see. Real quick, guys, next weekend is another big one. Richard Spring Invitational, the granddaddy, I think, of them all, is one race winner. It's going to be a lot of teams. Dylan Nally will be there, guys. He will be
exactly, and he ran. Yeah, he was the first guy to break 15 on that course in St. Louis, you know. So
and it'll be a rematch of these same girls teams that we just talked about. 1, 2, 3. Yes. I will be there. Oh, Ray, your team will be there as well, correct?
Correct. That's right.
Good. That'll be fun.
So yep, St. Ignatius was fourth behind those three teams at Lake Park, which is the highest finish in team history. So looks like Ignatius girls kind of slide in with Glenwood and Grayslake at the moment. Last
thing, we got to get up out of here, but check us out. We're back fully loaded on our content. We got the premium stuff. We got all of the content from this past weekend and the last several weekends. So go out there, Mile Split, Illinois. Check us out. Guys, hey, it's been great one.
Absolutely.
It's a little longer than I thought because we're past 10:15. Hey, we'll see you guys real soon. Peace.
Yeah, bye-bye, guys.
Okay, thanks, everybody.